This knowledge hasn't been widely shared, and if the invitation to read this drew you in, it's because something in it has already touched a quiet place within you. Pay attention, because the ideas you're about to explore can help illuminate the subtle framework shaping the reality you move through each day. What follows isn't just language or imagery. It's a kind of living resonance, carried through the deeper currents that influence how we experience existence. You're holding a small piece of understanding that has been passed from one seeker to another over generations, through symbols, intention, and moments of quiet recognition. Think of it less as a forbidden manuscript and more as a reminder of something deeply human, our natural ability to shape our lives with clarity, awareness, and intention. And in reaching for this knowledge, you're already showing the steadiness and openness needed to carry it forward. The attraction principle, when stripped of commercial distortion and contemporary mythology, surfaces here as an exact primordial operating system, one that answers not to fleeting wants, but to the energetic signature humming within the foundation of your existence. Like a hidden frequency resonating across dimensional space, your internal broadcast summons circumstances, encounters, and results that harmonize with it through infallible precision. These revelations emerge through 3 holy phases of manifestation. Initially, you'll discover how to recognize the frequency you're currently transmitting, the silent wavelength that constructs your world. Following this, you'll activate the capacity to deliberately shape this inner resonance, calibrating it toward the yearnings held in the deepest sanctuary of your soul. And ultimately, you'll observe how these refined frequencies solidify into tangible form, exposing the invisible blueprint behind every materialized experience. Yet such understanding isn't distributed freely. Force without clarity corrupts, and desire without alignment misleads. What you're receiving is entrusted exclusively to those who pursue evolution, restoration, and manifestation, synchronized with collective elevation. These revelations are tools of awakening, not domination. Now through these transmissions, the complete knowledge is presented to you, transparent, whole, and activated. A blueprint to the internal machinery of attraction and the transformation of conscious materialization. Move forward with sacred attention. Allow the primordial knowing to surface within your awareness. Your path as the designer of your experience initiates. Now before we venture deeper, comment below. I am ready to declare your commitment to the universe. Part 1, the first unveiling, the hidden code of inner calibration. Chapter 1, the murmur beneath each idea. In a small harbor village, Maribel tended her dawn garden, noticing how her plants seemed to mirror the subtle shifts of her own emotions. When worry shadowed her thoughts about their well-being, the leaves drooped, even under her careful care. Yet, when she approached them with gentle attention, expecting their growth and vitality, they would stretch toward the sun with renewed energy. At first, she dismissed these connections as coincidence, but as she grew more attentive, she began to notice this quiet dance extending beyond her garden. On mornings when she awoke burdened by doubt, minor irritations would accumulate, signals turned red, appointments shifted, and small obstacles seemed to multiply. On mornings when she felt a soft trust in life's goodness, even likely challenges seemed to unfold as unexpected blessings. Through Maribel's observations, a subtle truth emerges. Ideas are not confined to the mind, but radiate outward, shaping the world around them. The universe, in its infinite receptivity, responds with surprising fidelity. Your inner narrative acts as a blueprint. Every thought becomes a frequency in the vast orchestra of manifestation. When patterns of uncertainty or limitation replay unchallenged in your awareness, they produce echoes of scarcity, reflected in your experience. But when you nurture thoughts of possibility and abundance, life gradually realigns with this new, more expansive melody. Consider Chester, a small bookshop owner who glimpsed this truth unexpectedly. One particularly demanding morning, he paused, drew a deliberate breath, and filled it with quiet gratitude for simply being. That day, patrons arrived with exact payment, lost shipments appeared, and a rare book he had long sought materialized effortlessly. That evening, Chester realized that a single moment of conscious recognition could ripple outward, shaping the unfolding day. Focus magnifies. Thoughts held with attention gain energetic strength. Even a gentle note of gratitude, maintained with mindful awareness, can act as a quiet directive that moves the world. Ancient practice, energetic calibration. Find a quiet moment, a space of stillness. Choose a single idea that embodies what you wish to invite into your life. Rather than forcing it, allow it to settle softly in your awareness. Let it become less a thought and more a sensation, a tender glow radiating within. Stay with this gentle resonance for several breaths. In this quiet space, you are sending subtle instructions to the unfolding fabric of reality. Chapter 2. The subtle magnetism of feeling. Within every thought lies a spark of manifestation, a resonance that quietly shapes the texture of experience. Alone, living in a bustling city, first noticed this through the soft cues of her own emotional life. When anxiety about money took hold, unexpected expenses arose. When she felt appreciation and prosperity, opportunities appeared almost effortlessly. This points to one of the universe's tender truths. Ideas guide, but feelings give them life. Feeling is the current that carries thoughts into reality. An idea may point the way, but the emotion behind it fuels its unfolding. This helps explain why two people can hold the same thought, yet experience very different outcomes. The emotional energy behind the thought creates its unique signature, shaping what is drawn toward them. Virgil's story illustrates this beautifully. For years, he carried resentment for those he felt had wronged him, and opportunities seemed blocked at every turn. One day, he chose to release his bitterness, not for others, but for his own ease. As his inner feelings shifted, the world responded. Previously blocked paths opened, connections strengthened, and new possibilities began to appear. The universe responds not merely to words or surface ideas, but to the deeper current of feeling beneath them. Genuine appreciation carries more weight than forced optimism. Sincere contentment attracts more harmony than manufactured joy. Ancient practice, transforming feelings. Find a quiet space where you feel safe and undisturbed. Bring gentle attention to any heavy feelings within you. Do not resist them, simply notice them, their presence, texture, and weight. With each breath, imagine this heaviness softening, slowly dissolving into warmth and light. As space clears within, allow a higher feeling to naturally arise, perhaps gratitude, serenity, or joy. Let this new feeling expand gently, filling the space where tension once lingered. This practice, passed down through generations, allows you to consciously shift your energetic presence, and with it, the experiences life brings your way. Chapter 3. The Spirit's Invisible Frequency. In the depths of an ancient cedar forest, Juniper walked alone, feeling at once unseen, and yet deeply woven into the fabric of existence. As daylight sifted through the branches, she sensed a subtle resonance, not tied to her thoughts or emotions, but to something more essential, her own unique frequency within the cosmic dance. You, like Juniper, carry within you a distinct energetic imprint, a spirit frequency that quietly echoes through the vast chambers of the universe. This isn't just a poetic idea, but a metaphysical reality, shaping the direction of your life. It explains why certain paths feel natural, while others resist, why some opportunities seem to find you easily, while others drift by untouched. This individual transmission is your spiritual fingerprint in the universal matrix. It is neither good nor bad, neither high nor low, it simply is. Your frequency conducts the symphony of your experience, drawing toward you what aligns with your authentic essence, and gently repelling what does not. Consider Roy, a trader who spent years copying the strategies and habits of successful merchants. No matter how precisely he mimicked them, prosperity remained distant. One morning, exhausted from pretending, he let go of the adopted methods and followed his own intuitive rhythm. Within days, unexpected clients appeared, drawn by his genuine approach. The universe responds not to performance, but to sincerity. Your energy functions like a resonating instrument, harmonizing with matching signals in the field of infinite possibility. When you settle into your natural tone, life moves with surprising ease. When you try to echo someone else's, dissonance arises, slowing your ability to manifest. The shift lies not in forcing your frequency to change, but in recognizing and honoring it. Your singular resonance is your contribution to existence, a tone only you can bring to the cosmic orchestra. Ancient practice, returning to your natural resonance. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Release the tension around who you think you should be. Let go of comparisons and expectations. Simply allow yourself to exist. Feel the natural rhythm beneath your thoughts and emotions, the pure essence of your being. Rest there, letting the universe meet you exactly as you are. This is your true transmission, your authentic resonance. Spend time here each day, allowing your natural frequency to grow clearer and stronger. Chapter 4. The Reverberations of Unvoiced Conviction. A single flame flickered in Fiona's reflection chamber as she softly repeated her daily affirmations. Prosperity flows to me with ease, yet her financial reality told a different story. Beneath her words, an unrecognized belief lingered, a quiet undercurrent shaping her experience. Each opportunity seemed subtly blocked. It wasn't her spoken intentions that held power, but her deeper convictions. This reveals a key principle of manifestation. Unspoken beliefs influence life more than words. They act as silent instructions to the universe. While your conscious mind may voice abundance, deeper convictions may whisper, "There is never enough," and the universe responds to that. Beliefs are like background programs guiding your experiences. Many form early, through childhood, culture, or emotional imprints, and continue operating quietly. Harland, a wandering artist in Tibet, believed true creativity required suffering. This unseen program led him to reject ease. One morning he asked, "What if creativity could flow with joy?" That gentle shift allowed his art to reach appreciative audiences, showing how a single change in belief can redirect life. Beliefs are not enemies, they once served you. The key is awareness, not resistance. Ancient practice, the gentle revealing. Sit quietly, hand over your heart, and breathe. Ask, what do I truly believe about my worth, possibilities, and capacity to receive? Notice limiting beliefs without judgment. Breathe kindness into them as you would soothe a child, allowing them to soften. This gentle awareness opens space for new possibilities. Chapter 5. The Synchronization of Yearning and Deservingness. Imagine your beliefs as quiet programs running in the background of your awareness, like unseen software shaping which experiences appear in your life. In a tranquil village, Macy wove exquisite tapestries, each thread carrying her hope to share her art. Yet when opportunities arose, she hesitated. Beneath her longing lay an unspoken sense of unworthiness. The universe responds not to words but to deep conviction. When desire meets doubt, an energetic tension arises, like two currents in opposition. Consider Gideon, a musician playing to nearly empty taverns. One night, moved to tears by his own music, he allowed himself to feel worthy. In that moment, life began to shift. Manifestation requires harmony between yearning and belief. Desire and conviction must align, like a key fitting a lock. Ancient practice, the worthy aspiration. Find a quiet moment and bring one heartfelt longing to awareness. Breathe deeply and whisper, "I am worthy of this." Chapter 6. The force you transmit before speaking. At her father's marketplace, Delilah watched the ebb and flow of trade. Before speaking, she noticed how people drifted toward or away from her. She discovered the deeper truth. It wasn't her words, but the quiet energy she carried. When her heart felt open, the marketplace thrived. When worry clouded her thoughts, even her kindest smile couldn't bridge the distance. In a mountain village, a thatcher struggled with tense negotiations. One morning, he softened his heart before speaking. Conversations shifted, solutions emerged naturally. Ancient practice, the field of presence. Notice the energy moving through you, tight or spacious, guarded or welcoming. Let breath smooth any roughness. Imagine your presence as a still pool reflecting the open sky. Chapter 7. The transmission of invisible choices. At dawn, Waverly sat between two paths. Hours passed. Uncertainty held her in place. She realized her indecision had become tangible, gently repelling life's flow. The universe communicates through clarity. Hesitation sends a signal of confusion, pausing manifestation. In Meridia, Oswin's business collapsed. One small choice, selling a single ring, created a ripple. Momentum built and his business revived. Ancient practice, the moment of choice. Sit quietly. Notice uncertainty. Choose one clear, simple direction today. Commit fully, feel the shift in your energy. Chapter 8. The silent designer of anticipation. Iris tended roses, whispering prayers, yet her garden remained sparse. She realized her expectation of failure quietly shaped her results. Expectations act as subtle blueprints the universe follows. Hope and expectation may conflict. Expectation usually leads. Lyall, a fisherman, felt a gentle sense of abundance one night. The next morning, his nets returned full. Technique hadn't changed, only expectation. Ancient practice, anticipation, synchronization. Settle into your breath, soften into receptivity, rest in gentle expectation that goodness can come naturally. Chapter 9. The ceremony of allowing inner noise to settle. What you deeply expect becomes your experience. Bo, a trader, found chaos in thought mirrored outside. Inner turbulence creates outer disorder. Stillness comes before creation. Practice. Sit comfortably. Notice natural pauses between thoughts. Let stillness grow, even for a breath or two. Chapter 10. The secret behind small signals. Insight comes from spaces between thoughts. Alma, a weaver, paused, and suddenly a pattern aligned perfectly. As she honored small pauses, more signs appeared, guiding her gently. Florian, a scholar, let his thoughts settle. In quiet, he discovered insight in books. Sacred practice. Pause even for a breath. Let thoughts drift like leaves. Notice signals, numbers, coincidences, patterns. Acknowledge with gratitude. Chapter 11. The craft of energetic exactness. The universe speaks softly, yet responds powerfully when your inner signals are clear. Prudence learned this on her path of manifestation. Her longing for prosperity was sincere but vague, wide as the sky, yet without form. So the universe delivered abundance that was equally undefined. Overwhelming obligations, draining opportunities, scattered results. She discovered a key truth. Manifestation requires emotional clarity. Just as a painter selects specific colors, the universe responds to the exact emotional essence you hold, not broad desires. Ancient teachings say, as within, so without. Your inner feeling must match what you wish to create. It's not about perfect thoughts or flawless vision, but emotional coherence, knowing the true feeling behind your desire. Edwin experienced this in his creative work. His initial desire for success brought inconsistent results. Everything changed when he clarified what success truly felt like: steady satisfaction in meaningful work. Once aligned with this precise feeling, opportunities appeared in direct resonance with it. When your emotional signal is cloudy, life mirrors that confusion. When it is clear, the universe reflects it with precision. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and bring forth a specific desire. Focus on the feeling behind it rather than the outcome. Refine that feeling gently until it is clear and steady, like tuning an instrument. Hold it lightly, allowing it to become your natural inner tone. Chapter 12. The soft power of energetic surrender. Between wanting and receiving lies a subtle but powerful truth. Clara experienced this each morning as she stood before her mirror, speaking her affirmations with such determination that her shoulders tensed and her breath tightened. Despite her effort, her goals seemed to drift farther away. The universe moves through a gentle paradox. The harder you cling, the more your desires slip away. Gripping too tightly creates energetic interference. When you try to force the path, you inadvertently block it. True manifestation happens when yearning is paired with trust, when desire is held with clarity but without strain. The ancient masters understood this well. They taught that creation requires both clear intention and soft surrender. Your role is to set your intention, then allow the universe to arrange the details. Benton learned this through his pursuit of career success. He strategized endlessly, trying to control every outcome. His energy became tight, restless, and heavy. Only when he finally released his grip, out of exhaustion, not strategy, did everything begin to shift. He kept his intention but let go of the pressure. From there, opportunities arose with ease, coming from places he could never have predicted. This is the quiet art of allowing, holding your desire gently while trusting that life knows how to unfold it. Sacred practice, surrender. Bring to mind one desire you've been holding too tightly. Notice where your body feels the strain of this attachment. Breathe deeply and imagine your desire as a delicate butterfly resting in your open hands. With each breath, soften your hold. Let your energy loosen. Trust that what is meant for you will find you, and what arrives with ease often aligns most naturally with your path. Chapter 13. The attractive pulse of visualization. Deep within the landscape of manifestation exists a truth far more influential than simple mental imagery: the power of felt vision. We can witness this through the path of Hattie, who spent countless hours crafting intricate mental pictures of her desired future, only to feel them drift away like leaves carried by wind. For years, Hattie devoted herself to visualizing. She would sit in quiet focus, constructing detailed scenes. The golden light entering her imagined home. The colors of her achievements. The shape of a life she longed to step into. Her visions were beautiful, yet distant. They lived like portraits behind glass, rather than experiences she could inhabit. Then one dawn, something shifted. Instead of trying to see her vision, she allowed herself to feel it. The imagined sunlight warmed her skin. The texture of prosperity became tangible beneath her fingers. The scent of contentment filled her breath. In that moment, the scene transformed from an image into a living experience. This is the quiet secret. The universe responds not to mental pictures, but to the feeling tone they ignite within you. When your inner vision becomes sensory, when it carries warmth, texture, and presence, you create a blueprint the universe can easily follow. Merlin's journey reflects this reality as well. Often lost in gentle daydreams, he imagined a creative studio he hoped to one day build. But on one particular day, instead of simply seeing it, he felt the smooth wood beneath his touch. The calm that filled the room. The soft inspiration rising with each breath. Within months, life guided him to a space nearly identical to what he had sensed. The lesson is simple yet profound. Effortless, sensory imagination holds more magnetic power than forced visualization. When you allow your visions to involve your whole being, you slip naturally into alignment with the universe's creative rhythm. Ancient practice of sensory vision. Find a peaceful moment and settle into stillness. Choose one desire that feels true to your heart. Instead of trying to picture it clearly, allow yourself to experience it. Feel its textures, temperatures, and emotional atmosphere. Let scent, sounds, and sensations arise naturally. Notice how your body responds to this richer way of imagining. And know that anything you can feel this vividly is already forming beyond what the eyes can see. Chapter 14. The energetic consequence of opposition. In the quiet depths of understanding exists a truth often overlooked. Whatever you resist, you reinforce. The story begins with Sati, who discovered this law through her own cycles of frustration and release. Each morning, Sati woke to small irritations. The more she pushed against them, the more they seemed to multiply. Her neighbor's wind chimes, once a gentle background sound, seemed louder. Her commute grew more stressful. Minor inconveniences at work unfolded into larger disruptions. One afternoon, sitting in her garden, she felt the familiar surge of irritation rise as the wind chimes began again. But instead of tightening against the sound, she suddenly recognized something. Her resistance itself was amplifying what she didn't want. This recognition opens the doorway to a universal truth. Opposition is still focus, and the universe responds to focus. It does not distinguish between, yes, I want this, and no, I do not want this. It responds only to the charge of your attention. Like a garden nourishes both flowers and weeds, your experience expands whatever receives your emotional energy. Amos discovered the same truth through a different route. For months he had battled circumstances he viewed as obstacles, but one quiet afternoon, exhausted from resisting, he simply paused. When he stopped pushing against what was unwanted, space opened. His focus softened toward what felt better, and gradually, life began flowing with unexpected ease. The moment you stop fighting what is, you free the energy needed to create what could be. Transformation often begins not with force, but with gentle redirection. Ancient practice of release. Find a quiet moment and bring to mind one situation you've been resisting. Acknowledge it without feeding it. Imagine your resistance as a clenched fist, and with each breath, allow your grip to soften. As your hand opens, feel the space that emerges, a space where new possibilities can take root. Rest here. Let life meet you in this openness. Chapter 15. The field of collective influence. There once lived a woman named Eloise, who began noticing something subtle but powerful. Her inner world seemed to ripple outward into every environment she entered. On days when anxiety churned inside her, coworkers felt tense, conversations became strained, and even her favorite cafe carried a faint charge. Yet on mornings when she felt calm and grounded, those same spaces seemed to exhale. People smiled more easily. Interactions felt softer. This reflects a simple but profound truth. Your energy extends beyond your body. It influences every space you inhabit. Like a lamp's glow filling a room, your inner state radiates outward. You are always contributing to the balance or imbalance of your surroundings, not through words, but through presence. Vernon, a merchant, experienced this during a tense business meeting. Having grounded himself in quiet reflection that morning, he entered the room with a steady calm. Without speaking, he watched the atmosphere shift. Voices softened, shoulders lowered, and solutions appeared where moments earlier there had been conflict. His calmness spread like warmth through the room. This power lives within you as well. Your presence speaks long before your voice does. Ancient practice for energetic harmony. Before entering any shared space, pause for 3 breaths. On the first, notice your current state. On the second, release any tension you're carrying. On the third, choose tranquility. Let this peaceful resonance accompany you. You become a quiet source of balance in every space you enter. Chapter 16. The Channel of Inspired Action. In a bustling marketplace, Siley stood arranging her wares with care. She worked long hours and followed every strategy she knew, yet her business remained unmoving. Something within her felt misaligned. One dawn, instead of rushing, she simply paused. In that small pocket of stillness, a gentle inner pull guided her to move her stall to the fountain square. It wasn't logical, but it felt right. Within days, her business blossomed. Not only did more patrons arrive, but the right ones, those who appreciated her craft deeply. She realized that effort born from fear creates friction, but action born from alignment opens doors with ease. Oren, a craftsman, learned this as well. After months of pushing himself to promote his work, he paused and returned to creating from joy. While working on a piece that genuinely inspired him, he felt a soft nudge to display it publicly. That single inspired step brought more opportunity than all his forced efforts combined. Not all action carries equal power. Inspired action moves with the universe, not against it. Sacred practice of inspired action. Find a quiet moment and settle into calm. Notice any gentle nudges that arise, not loud ideas, but soft invitations. Without overthinking, honor one small impulse. The universe often speaks in whispers. Act on the one you hear. Chapter 17. The Refined Language of Inner Knowing. Throughout the ages, teachers have spoken of a quiet intelligence within, the gentle guidance that rises not from the mind, but from the heart's deeper knowing. Flora learned this truth in her daily life. She noticed that whenever she followed those subtle impulses, the ones that seemed to appear from nowhere, her path unfolded with unusual grace. They weren't dramatic messages, but soft suggestions, like ripples moving across calm water. One morning, preparing for an important meeting, she felt drawn to take a different route. Logic told her not to, but something deeper said yes. She followed it, and along the way met someone who would shape her future in meaningful ways. Baxter, too, spent months trapped in logical analysis over a major decision. But in a moment of stillness, he felt a soft pull, a quiet certainty guiding him toward an unexpected direction. When he listened, life opened in ways he couldn't have calculated. Inner knowing is the universe's voice within you. It doesn't shout, it whispers. Sacred practice. Close your eyes and let your breath soften. Feel for the quiet guidance beneath your thoughts, a sensation, a direction, a gentle yes or no. Trust what you hear, even if it feels subtle. Take one small step in its direction. Chapter 18. The Energetic Mirror of Connections. Ancient writings teach a profound truth. Every relationship mirrors something within you. Each encounter reflects your inner state with remarkable accuracy. Nellie experienced this daily. When her heart felt uncertain, even her kindest colleagues seemed distant. Yet when she entered with calm and self-clarity, those same people greeted her with warmth. She began to see that others were responding not to her words, but to her unspoken resonance. Irving's journey revealed this as well. For years, he carried the belief that others would dismiss him. The world faithfully mirrored this expectation until he recognized the pattern and softened toward himself. As his self-regard deepened, people responded differently. Opportunities appeared. Connections warmed. The outer world adjusted to match his new inner state. Transformation does not begin by changing others. It begins by softening your relationship with yourself. Ancient practice. Bring to mind a challenging relationship. Instead of focusing on the other person, turn inward. What feelings arise? Offer yourself compassion for whatever you discover, unmet needs, fears, hopes. As you soften toward yourself, notice how the emotional tone of the connection begins to shift. Chapter 19. The Transmission of Forgiveness. One quiet autumn evening, Clementine sat beneath an old oak tree carrying memories that weighed heavily on her heart. She had held onto past hurts for years, believing that holding them protected her. Yet as the leaves drifted in the breeze, she realized a deeper truth. Forgiveness is not approval of what happened. It is the gentle release of the emotional weight that keeps you tied to the past. Unresolved grievances act like invisible threads, pulling your energy backward. They cloud the pathways through which new blessings arrive. Clementine saw how old hurts resurfaced whenever new opportunities approached, as though her past pains blocked her future doors. Perel's story reflects this as well. For decades, he carried self-judgment for choices made long ago. But one morning, as sunlight touched the hills, he felt a wave of understanding. His younger self had done the best he could. The moment he softened toward himself, his life shifted. Opportunities arrived effortlessly. Problems dissolved. The universe responded instantly to the lighter resonance he now carried. Forgiveness opens the space through which life can give to you again. Ancient practice. Close your eyes and breathe gently. Allow one memory that calls for forgiveness to rise. Without forcing anything, let your breath soften the tension around it. With each exhale, release a little of the weight. Feel the space that opens as you loosen old ties. This is the beginning of freedom. Chapter 20. The Open Threshold of Permitting. In a sunlit courtyard, Bertie stood outside her shop, wondering why prosperity still felt just out of reach. She had mastered visioning, felt genuine excitement, and cultivated anticipation, but something within her still resisted receiving. The truth is simple yet transformative. Manifestation depends not only on asking, but on allowing. We receive only what we feel open to hold. When doubt, unworthiness, or the need to control arise, they form subtle barriers that block life's natural flow. The universe responds not to spoken desires, but to your inner readiness to welcome what you seek. Like flowers in spring, growth happens through openness, not effort. Roscoe, a quiet scribe, learned this when he finally released the pressure to prove himself. In the space created by his surrender, life moved swiftly. A traveling merchant discovered his work, guiding him to recognition he had long hoped for, not through striving, but through allowing. Receiving is an act of trust. A soft opening. A willingness to let goodness enter without conditions. Ancient practice of permitting. Find a peaceful moment. Imagine your energy as a garden with a small gate. Gently open this gate. Allow the universe's gifts to enter without resistance. Feel how natural receiving can be when you soften your grip. Remain in this openness, knowing that what is meant for you will meet you with ease. Chapter 21. The Dimensional Shift of Self-Concept. In a quiet garden filled with the soft scent of jasmine, Violet tended her flowers each morning, speaking to them as cherished companions. Others saw only a gardener, but she sensed something deeper. On days when she felt aligned with the quiet intelligence of nature, the flowers seemed to answer her, blooming out of season, thriving in unlikely conditions. Yet when she doubted herself, the garden grew still, almost shy. The universe responds not to your history or your name, but to the quiet imprint of who you believe yourself to be. This inner sense acts as an anchor, drawing into your life whatever matches the truth you carry about yourself. When you move through the world convinced you are small, life inevitably reflects that belief back to you. But when you allow your sense of self to gently expand, your reality rearranges to meet that new expression. This is not about forcing yourself into an identity. It is about allowing yourself to recognize who you have quietly been all along. The way a flower naturally opens to the sun. In a distant marketplace, Cyrus once saw himself as nothing more than a modest trader of spices. Then one morning, he chose to view himself instead as a curator of ancient flavors, someone preserving a lineage of culinary knowledge. He didn't push this identity. He simply allowed it to settle softly within him. Almost immediately, his patrons treated him differently. They sought his wisdom, not just his spices. New opportunities appeared effortlessly. His shop became known as a sanctuary of deeper understanding. All of this unfolded because his inner sense of self shifted. The universe responds to who you are being, not who you are trying to become. Your self-concept broadcasts a frequency that quietly determines the experiences available to you. As that identity grows, so does the dimension of reality you inhabit. Ancient practice of gentle identity expansion. Find a still moment and close your eyes. Notice who you feel yourself to be right now. Then, without effort, imagine that sense of self widening just a little. Like a ripple moving outward across a calm pond. Don't force anything. Simply allow a slightly larger version of you to come forward. Rest here for a few breaths and let life respond in its own time. Chapter 22. The Energetics of Receiving Beyond Expectation. Each day, a trader's daughter named Fern walked through the marketplace, watching others exchange gold and gemstones. While she held only copper coins, she dreamed of owning her own shop. Yet whenever she imagined such abundance, something inside her tightened. Her dreams felt too large, too far from where she stood. One morning, she watched a butterfly slowly expand its wings, after emerging from its chrysalis. In that quiet moment, she understood. Her inner space for receiving was smaller than her desires. She needed to soften, to open, to grow. The universe meets you through a law of inner spaciousness. Like water that fills the shape of its container, abundance can flow only to the extent that your inner vessel allows. When fear, doubt, or unworthiness narrow that vessel, blessings can reach you only in small amounts. Expansion begins not with action, but with allowing yourself to imagine more without shrinking away from it. Each time you gently welcome the possibility of greater good, you stretch the walls of your inner container. Harlem, a humble scribe, spent years copying others' stories. Though he longed to write his own, he believed he was capable only of small things. One evening, while transcribing an ancient text on boundless potential, something softened within him. Instead of rejecting that feeling, he let it settle. Within months, stories began pouring from him, and readers appeared from places he had never imagined. Receiving does not come from demanding more. It comes from becoming spacious enough to hold what has already been waiting for you. Sacred practice. Sit quietly and breathe gently. With each inhale, picture your inner field widening, like morning light slowly spreading across a valley. With each exhale, allow one old limitation to fall away. Let your inner world grow wide enough to welcome blessings that once felt out of reach. Chapter 23. The Quiet Geometry of Synchronicity. High in a mountain village, a woman named Mabel began noticing unfamiliar patterns in her days, numbers repeating on clocks, the same phrases drifting through different conversations, signs too frequent to dismiss. At first they were small, then they multiplied like stars in a darkening sky. Synchronicity is the universe's way of whispering that you are moving in harmony with your deeper path. These moments are not accidents. They are gentle markers in the invisible design guiding your life. Think of synchronicity as the universe's subtle encouragement. When you let go of rigid expectations and stay open, these signals become easier to notice. You do not need to assign meaning with the analytical mind. Simply feel the resonance and allow it to guide the next step. Across the sea in a bustling city, Rupert struggled with whether to expand his small shop. Suddenly, books fell open to chapters on growth. Conversations with strangers turned to the theme of bold steps. Even the spirals in his tea leaves seemed to widen outward. Instead of brushing these coincidences aside, Rupert allowed them to support his decision. When he expanded, doors opened effortlessly, as though the universe had already paved the way. Synchronicities are like breadcrumbs along the trail of your highest good. Sacred practice. Tomorrow morning, welcome synchronicity with an open heart. Notice repeating numbers, recurring ideas, or chance encounters that feel gently meaningful. Instead of analyzing them, simply acknowledge them as quiet companions on your path. Chapter 24. The energetic tone of language. In a lively marketplace, Zelda tended her flower stall each morning. Over time, she began noticing how her words seemed to influence the blooms. When she spoke sharply, the petals seemed to soften and curl. When she whispered appreciation, the flowers brightened, almost as if answering her. This reveals a subtle truth. Words carry energy. Beyond their meanings, they broadcast a tone that shapes the unseen texture of your life. Every sentence sends out a small wave that influences what unfolds. Words are like seeds. Once spoken, their energy continues to grow long after the sound fades. This is why ancient traditions held certain chants and mantras as sacred. Sound has creative power. In a quiet valley, Dawson long spoke in terms of strain. "I'm trying. It's always hard. I can't seem to." Eventually, he softened his language. "I'm allowing. It's coming together. I welcome this." Within weeks, his daily life shifted into greater ease. He hadn't changed his actions, only his tone. It isn't about forced positivity. It's about choosing language that reflects the feeling of what you want to create. Ancient practice of sound alignment. Sit in stillness and let a single phrase rise naturally from within, something gentle, something true. Speak it softly. Notice how it feels in your body. Allow this phrase to guide the energy you send into the world. Chapter 25. Appreciation as a quiet portal of manifestation. In the heart of the market, Ida moved between vibrant stalls, offering small words of gratitude. At first, they were simple courtesies, but soon she noticed something subtle. Whenever her appreciation was genuine, life seemed to respond with unexpected generosity. Not because she was asking for more, but because she was acknowledging the good already present. Appreciation is not just a reaction to blessings. It is a doorway through which more can enter. Every sincere expression of gratitude opens space for additional harmony to arrive. Words of appreciation carry their own energy. They soften resistance, expand receptivity, and gently shift your emotional field into alignment with what you hope to receive. Quentin, a humble trader, practiced this each morning. Before opening his shop, he stood in the doorway and whispered appreciation, not only for what he had, but for what was still forming. At first, nothing seemed different. Then slowly more customers appeared, his shelves felt easier to fill, and new opportunities arrived as if carried on a quiet current. The universe responds not to empty rituals, but to the sincerity behind your words. Ancient practice of verbal alchemy. Pause and notice something simple around you, a ray of sunlight, a steady breath, a moment of peace. Let a feeling of genuine appreciation rise naturally. Speak it aloud with warmth. Notice how your energy softens and opens. This shift creates the space where new blessings can quietly enter. Chapter 26. The harmony between yearning and detachment. In a quiet mountain settlement, Sylvie tended her garden each dawn, hopping with all her heart for the seeds to sprout. Each day she leaned anxiously over the soil, her longing so strong it seemed to tighten the very air around her. Despite her care, nothing surfaced. Only when she fell ill and was unable to visit the garden for 3 days, forced to release her constant watching, did the first tender green shoots finally appear. The universe often moves through gentle paradox. The more tightly you hold an outcome, the more it seems to slip from your grasp. This reveals the delicate balance between yearning and detachment. Your desire provides the spark that begins the process of creation, but it is your ability to ease your grip that allows the spark to take form. Imagine yearning as the seed and detachment as the soil. Without the seed, there is no direction for creation. But without open, spacious soil, nothing can take root. When both coexist, clear intention paired with soft surrender, your energy becomes its most magnetic. Milton, a painter, learned this when pursuing his dream of hosting a gallery show. For years he pushed and strained, his desire burning so hot it singed every possibility. Then one afternoon, while working quietly on a canvas, something shifted. He still wanted the showing deeply, yet he released his insistence on how or when it must arrive. He painted with devotion, but surrendered the outcome. Within weeks, an unexpected invitation arrived from a respected gallery. The very opportunity he had strained for appeared naturally once he allowed himself to want without gripping. Detachment is not coldness. It is trust in the unfolding order of things. When you find yourself holding too tightly, remember, the universe cannot place anything into clenched hands. Plant your intention clearly, then take a gentle step back. Let creation breathe. Sacred practice, the space between desire and trust. Find a still moment. Bring to mind something you deeply yearn for. Feel the richness of that desire. Then, without lessening the desire, soften around it. Let your breath create spaciousness. Notice how wanting and surrender can coexist peacefully in the same moment. Rest in that meeting place, knowing the universe is already responding. Chapter 27. The Peaceful Power of Energetic Consistency. In a small seaside cottage, Pearl noticed a pattern in her journal. On days when she maintained a soft, steady mood, life unfolded with a quiet grace. Yet on days she tried to force intense positivity to override her worries, everything felt unsettled. This brought her to a gentle realization. The universe responds not to emotional intensity, but to emotional steadiness. The law of attraction moves through consistency. Like a musician holding a pure note, your emotional tone sends out ripples through your experience. When maintained with patience, these ripples form the stable patterns that shape real, lasting change. It is rarely the occasional burst of high vibration that transforms your world, but the steady hum of your everyday emotional atmosphere. Think of your inner state as a garden. Sudden downpours followed by long droughts cannot nourish it as well as a gentle, regular rain. In the same way, your manifestations are supported not by dramatic emotional peaks, but by a sustainable, softly held feeling. Winston, a humble bookshop owner, discovered this during a period of transition. Instead of seeking grand breakthroughs, he chose to keep a quiet appreciation for his present life while holding a gentle vision for what might come. Each morning, he spent a few minutes settling into tranquility, no matter what challenges arose. He didn't force joy. He simply maintained a steady undercurrent of trust. Over time, subtle shifts appeared. Loyal customers began requesting special orders. New partnerships came forward naturally. His small shop's reputation grew, shaped not by loud promotion, but by the consistent warmth he cultivated. The universe responds most clearly to the emotional tones you can hold with ease. It seeks stability and meets you where your energy is steady. Ancient practice. Sit comfortably and choose one soft feeling, perhaps calm, gratitude, or quiet contentment. Let it rest gently in your being. Return to this feeling throughout the day, not intensely but lightly and consistently. Allow it to become your baseline, a steady note in the symphony of manifestation. Chapter 28. The Cosmic Return of Every Offering. Along a winding mountain path, a traveler named Alton carried his goods from village to village. Though his wares were modest, he always shared a little: bread with hungry children, medicine with elders in need. At first he worried these offerings might leave him with too little. Yet he soon noticed something unexpected. The more freely he gave, the more life supported him through quiet, surprising channels. The universe moves through a natural reciprocity. What you offer into the world completes a circle and returns. Energy does not disappear. It continues its journey and eventually comes home, often multiplied. This is not magic, but the gentle physics of giving and receiving. When you offer from sincerity, you open pathways through which abundance can move. And this law applies far beyond material gifts. A kind word, a patient gesture, a silent blessing, all send ripples through the field. These ripples eventually return as waves of support, often in ways more generous than expected. In a peaceful seaside village, Greta ran a small bakery and often struggled to make ends meet. Yet instead of focusing on lack, she began offering warm bread to elderly neighbors, speaking gently to those who were troubled, teaching children to bake. She sought no reward. Her joy came simply from giving. Within months, her life began to shift. A wealthy merchant became a loyal customer. A renowned culinary school invited her to teach. Her tiny bakery gained quiet recognition throughout the region. The secret is not to give in order to receive, but to give from a sense of inner fullness. When you give from fear or expectation, you transmit scarcity. But when you give from wholeness, knowing you are part of an abundant flow, you align with the natural stream of prosperity. Sacred practice. Tomorrow at sunrise, offer a small act of kindness with no expectation of acknowledgement or return. Let it arise naturally from your inner well-being. Notice how this softens your energy and creates room for new blessings to find their way to you. Chapter 29. The Creative Pulse of Identity Transformation. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Willa stood before a mirror in her small shop, arranging delicate crystals. She noticed something subtle yet profound. Whenever she carried herself with the quiet grace of the prosperous trader she aspired to be, patrons responded differently. It wasn't her actions that shifted first, it was her inner sense of self. The universe responds not to external circumstances alone, but to the energetic signature of who you allow yourself to be. Your identity radiates a field that naturally either welcomes or limits what manifests around you. When you softly transform your inner sense of self, it creates a subtle recalibration that ripples through every layer of your experience. This is the heart of accelerated materialization. The outer world gradually reorganizes itself to align with your inner knowing. But this shift requires more than simply pretending. It calls for genuine embodiment. You must sense the experience of who you are becoming with gentle conviction, allowing any uncertainty to soften in its presence. In the peaceful hills beyond the city, Sterling discovered this truth through quiet observation. As a humble gardener aspiring to establish his own botanical sanctuary, he noticed that progress felt slow until he made a small yet profound inner shift. Instead of focusing solely on the steps toward his goal, he began to feel the calm confidence, the peaceful certainty, and the quiet joy that would naturally accompany being the proprietor of a thriving sanctuary. Without immediately changing his actions, Sterling permitted himself to experience the texture of already being who he wished to become. He moved with a slightly different posture, spoke with a subtly new tone, and made choices from this softer, expanded sense of self. Within weeks, opportunities began to align. A benefactor appeared, offering land. Rare seeds arrived from distant lands. Students sought his guidance. The universe responded not to the external goal, but to the clarity and calm certainty of his inner state. This is the gentle mechanism behind rapid transformation. Your identity radiates a subtle field that draws possibilities toward you. When you maintain the feeling of your chosen identity with quiet consistency, experience naturally mirrors this internal shift. Sacred practice. Close your awareness and breathe deeply into the feeling of who you are becoming. Sense the calm confidence, tranquility, and quiet certainty that accompany this identity. Allow this sensation to fill every part of your being. Move through your day guided by this foundation, letting it shape your choices, words, and actions. Notice how experience gradually aligns with this refreshed, gentle, energetic signature. Chapter 30, The Final Secret, You Are the Field Itself. A soft dawn luminosity filtered through primordial olive trees as Tessa sat in contemplation. For seasons, she had viewed materialization as something that occurred to her, an answer from a distant universe. However, in this instant of stillness, a profound recognition dawned. She was not separate from the creative power she had been calling upon. The boundary between self and universe dissolved, disclosing a seamless field of awareness expressing itself through her very being. You are not reaching out to a distant capacity when you materialize. You are the capacity itself expressing through the vessel of your human circumstance. The universe does not answer to you. It expresses as you. This reality transforms everything. Materialization is not about attracting external events, but about acknowledging your nature as the source of all manifestation. When you comprehend this unity, materialization becomes effortless. No longer do you plead with an external power or wait for signals of approval. You simply permit your organic creative essence to stream unimpeded, understanding that you are the living breath of the universe itself in the depths of an autumn forest. Barnaby walked among fallen leaves, wrestling with a persistent sense of separation. As he contacted the rough bark of a primordial oak, something within him transformed. He grasped that the tree, the forest, his ideas and his yearnings were not separate occurrences, but expressions of one unified field of awareness. His own awareness extended into form. The oak did not exist apart from him, nor did his events. Everything he perceived was his own consciousness taking shape like waves rising from an infinite ocean. His experience wasn't answering to him. It was him expressing in infinite variations. This acknowledgement transformed his connection with materialization. No longer did he witness himself as a separate being attempting to influence an external world. He comprehended that his circumstances were organic extensions of his own awareness, as inseparable from him as waves are from the ocean. Sacred practice. Ease into stillness and abandon all attempt to make anything occur. Sense the reality that you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power expressing itself. Allow your breath to remind you that the same capacity that moves the cosmos moves through you. Rest in the knowing that you are already the source of all manifestation, and permit your organic creative essence to stream without opposition. Conclusion. The reality exists not in complex techniques or esoteric formulas, but in the simple acknowledgement of what you have always been. Throughout these unveiled secrets, each teaching pointed back to this fundamental experience. You are the creative field expressing itself in human form. When you comprehend this, materialization transforms from an external pursuit into an organic flowering of your authentic nature. The universe does not grant or deny your desires. It moves as you through you expressing the resonance you embody. This knowing dissolves the illusion of separation between creator and manifestation. However, with this profound reality comes sacred responsibility. As you acknowledge yourself as an expression of universal creative power, your intentions possess amplified capacity. This capacity asks not to be wielded for control or manipulation, but to be channeled with reverence for the highest good of all. The signals and synchronicities you observe are not messages from a distant source, but echoes of your own creative awareness, reminding you of your genuine nature. The inner nudges you receive are not external guidance, but the voice of your own deeper understanding articulating through the peaceful realms between ideas. In every instant of synchronization, every instance of materialization, you are not reaching outward but awakening to what already exists within. The path was never about acquiring capacity or mastering technique. It was about remembering your original nature as pure creative essence. The universe answers with flawless fidelity, not just to what you yearn, but to the quality of awareness from which that yearning surfaces. Genuine mastery exists not in controlling external events, but in nurturing inner clarity, permitting your organic creative power to stream unobstructed. You are both the peaceful witness and the creative power, the still consciousness and the dynamic expression, the eternal observer and the ever-emerging materialization. In acknowledging this unity, you return to the reality that has always been waiting. You are the field itself. Now, there's something else to understand about the quantum mechanics of emotion, specifically how a single, subtle feeling can quietly shape your entire experience without you even noticing. In my video on how emotional frequencies influence reality, I talk about one emotion that many people confuse with motivation, even though it actually keeps them stuck in repeating patterns. You'll learn how this emotional loop works and a simple shift that can help you step out of it, so your reality can begin aligning with what you genuinely want rather than old unconscious habits. This connects directly to what we've already explored about becoming more intentional in how you create your experience. Ready to manifest effortlessly? Subscribe now and join our Quantum Manifest Hub, where we stop chasing reality and start resonating with it.